Lesbian detective. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now. Lesbian detective. Lesbian detective. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message. I present to you, Lesbian Detective.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this new week. This episode is very important for the LGBT community. After she passed away and what happened, I'm kind of glad that her death wasn't like, oh, she died, like, forget about it. No, her death helped so many other transgender women and men. So this case right here is very special to me. And let me tell you something. We do deal with a transgender person. Respect their pronouns and do not disrespect them at all. No, thank you. So I like to say my favorite line. Now let's get into the episode. It was a late November night in Boston, the kind of night where the cold settles into the roads and people hurry between bars and apartments and parked cars without paying much attention to the lives unfolding around them. In a first-floor apartment in Boston, something has already gone wrong. From the outside, everything looks normal. The building is quiet. There are no broken windows, no obvious signs of a struggle, nothing that will cause a passerby to stop and look twice. But inside, a violent scene is waiting to be discovered. And when police finally walk through the door, they find evidence of an attack so brutal it will leave investigators searching for answers for decades. There is blood on the floors and walls. The phone had been ripped from the wall. A partial shoe print sits in the blood. And despite the violence of what happened inside, there are no signs of forced entry. Whoever was responsible hadn't broke in. They had likely been invited inside. More than 25 years later, the person responsible has never been identified. This is the case of Rita Hester. Before Rita became associated with an unsolved unaliving, she was simply known as Rita. Born on November 30th, 1963 in Hartford, Connecticut, Rita grew up surrounded by family. According to her younger sister Diane, there was never a dramatic moment where Rita suddenly announced who she was. To those closest to her, Rita was simply Rita. Diana will later explain that she always remembered her older sibling as feminine and expressive, someone who seemed comfortable being herself despite the challenges that often came with being different in the 1970s and 1980s. While Hartford was home, Rita eventually found herself drawn to Boston, where she was building a life within a larger LGBTQ plus community. The move would change everything. In Boston, Rita found friendship, nightlife, and a sense of belonging. She became a familiar face in the city LGBTQ plus scene, especially in neighborhoods like Alston, where she spent time at bars, clubs, and drag venues. Friends remember her as someone who could light up a room simply by walking into it. She was funny, confident, outspoken, the kind of person who never seemed to fade into the background. She loved to travel and had taken trips to Greece and Germany. She enjoyed music, performances, and spending time with friends. She had a cat. Most importantly, she was deeply loved. One of those people was her best friend, Brenda. The two met in the early 1990s where Brenda was bartending. Their friendship clicked almost immediately. Years later, Brenda would describe it as one of those rare friendships where it felt like you have known someone forever, even though you just only met them. They spent countless hours together, talking, laughing, and cooking, and enjoying each other's company. For Brenda, Rita wasn't a symbol. She wasn't a headline. She was simply her best friend. As Thanksgiving approached in 1998, life appeared completely normal. Rita's 35th birthday was only days away. Friends were making plans. The holidays were underway. There was absolutely no indication that anything was about to change. On Thanksgiving Day, November 26, Rita spent the holiday with Brenda and her family. Normally, she would travel back to Connecticut to spend Thanksgiving with family, but that year she stayed in Boston. The day was filled with food, conversation, and laughter. Looking back, those ordinary moments would become some of the last happy memories people will have of her. 2 days later, on Saturday, November 28, Rita and Brenda spent part of the morning playing racquetball together. Nothing seemed unusual. Rita was social, just as she always was. Around noon, she left Brenda's apartment. Neither woman knew it would be the last time they would see each other. Later that afternoon, around 4 p.m., Rita called another friend, a transgender woman who lived nearby. She was planning to head to Silhouette Lounge, a nearby bar located only a short distance from her apartment. The friend planned to meet her there later. It was completely ordinary conversation. Nothing sounded wrong. Nothing sounded urgent. Nothing sounded like a goodbye. Was seen at Silhouette Lounge, socializing with her friends and other people. Several people will later remember her talking with men they did not recognize. Over the years, description of those men have varied. Some people believe they were Brazilian. Others remember hearing they were Australian. Some recall one being older and one being younger. The detail never fully matched. But one thing remained constant. Witnesses believe Rita had spent time with unfamiliar men shortly before her death. At some point later that evening, Rita returned to her apartment on Park Vale Avenue. What happened next remained one of the central mysteries of this case. At 6:12 p.m., police received a call reporting a disturbance at Rita's address. Officers were dispatched at the scene. When they arrived, they discovered a horrifying crime scene. Inside the apartment, Rita had been stabbed around 20 times. Blood covered portions of the apartment. The telephone had been ripped from the wall. Evidence suggested a struggle had taken place. Yet, despite the violence, there was no sign of forced injury. No broken locks, no damaged window, no indication an intruder had forced their way inside. Investigators quickly concluded that Rita likely knew the person who attacked her or had willingly allowed them into her home. Despite suffering injuries, Rita was still alive when officers found her. She was rushed to Beth Israel Hospital. Doctors fought to save her life, but the injuries were too severe. Later that evening, Rita died. She was 34 years old, just 2 days away from her 35th birthday. As investigators processed the crime scene, they found very few answers. A partial footprint discovered in the blood did not belong to Rita. The ripped telephone suggested someone may have tried to call for help. The lack of forced entry pointed towards someone she trusted. None of those clues immediately led to a suspect. Meanwhile, Rita's family was learning the devastating news. Back in Connecticut, her mother, Kathleen, received a phone call informing her that her child had been murdered. She was alone when she got the news. No officers arrived at the door. No grief counselor was present. Just a phone call that shattered her world. Rita's sister Diane recalled hearing her mother's screams, through the phone before she could even understand what had happened. Within hours, the family was making their way to Boston, desperate for answers. As the investigation unfolded, detectives began interviewing friends, neighbors, and people from Boston nightlife scene. Several potential leads emerged. Witnesses report seeing two white men leaving the building around the time of the attack. Others recall Rita spending time with unfamiliar men at the local bar. Still, others mention a longtime boyfriend known only as Bobby. According to friends, Bobby was blonde, white man who had been involved in Rita's life for years. Yet after her murder, he seemed to disappear. Some friends couldn't remember his last name. Others never knew it. Family members reportedly informed police about him, but no public information has ever linked him to the crime.
Whether Bobby was simply a missing witness or something more remains unknown. Another possible lead involved an altercation Rita reportedly had weeks before her death. Friends recalled an incident at the model cafe in which Rita allegedly punched someone during an argument. Some wondered whether that confrontation could have led to retaliation. Investigators explored numerous possibilities. None led to an arrest. A few weeks turned into months. Frustration grew. Rita's family desperately wanted updates. They wanted progress. Most of all, they wanted justice. Instead, the case seemed to stall. Years passed without significant developments, and while the investigation struggled for momentum, another battle was beginning. In death, Rita was repeatedly misgendered by newspapers and media outlets. Some reports referred to her as a man. Others used her birth name instead of the name she lived by. For friends and family and members of the transgender community, it felt like Rita was being erased even after her death. The coverage sparked outrage. Activists protested media organizations and demanded better treatment of transgender victims. The anger surrounding Rita's case became part of a large conversation about violence against transgender people and how those victims were treated by both society and the media. One of the people deeply affected by Rita's murder was transgender activist Gwendolyn Ann Smith. Watching the coverage unfold, Smith became determined to ensure that transgender victims would not be forgotten. Created an online memorial project called Remembering Our Dead, documenting transgender people who had lost their lives to violence. But she wanted to do more. She wanted people to gather, to remember, to say these names out loud. In 1999, 1 year after Rita's murder, Smith organized the first Transgender Day of Remembrance. The annual event was created in response of Rita Hester's murder and the countless other transgender victims whose stories rarely received attention. What began as a small memorial grew into an international movement. Today, communities around the world hold vigils every November. Candles are lit, names are read out loud, and among those names is Rita Hester. Ironically, many people know about the movement her death inspired, yet fewer know her story. They don't know about the apartment in Alston, they don't know about the unanswered questions, and they don't know about the family that spent decades waiting for justice. More than 25 years later, Rita Hester's murder remains unsolved. No arrests have been made, no one has been charged, and investigators have never publicly identified a suspect. Before we end this case, let's take a moment to remember Rita herself. It's easy in true crime to focus on the mystery, the evidence, the theories, the unanswered questions. But before we end this case, let's sit back and remember the woman that died, Rita, because Rita was more than a case file. She was a daughter, a sister, a best friend, someone who loved to travel, laugh, and spend time with the people that she cared about. She was looking forward to her birthday. She had plans for the future. She had people who loved her, and those people never stopped missing her. Today, Rita's name is spoken around the world every year, not because of how she died, but because of how she lived. because the people who loved her refused to let her be forgotten. And somewhere out there, someone still knows what happened inside that apartment on November the 28th, 1998. Someone knows who ripped that phone from the wall. Someone knows who left that bloody footprint behind. And until those answers are found, the murder of Rita Hester remains one of Boston's most enduring unsolved mysteries. This is the case of Rita Hester. Now let's get into some theories.
Theories.
Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Let's be in detectives. What type of thoughts you thinking? What theories running through your mind? I'm thinking all types of suspicion. Uncover the truth, what we can find. Witness say they saw somebody creeping out the back door. What you think they did it for? That's so crazy, I'm not sure. They found a car, where could she be? Here go another puzzle piece. Researching through your history. It's plenty unsolved mysteries. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories, yeah. Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Let's be in detectives.
You or me?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to say that I'm glad that the community looked out for her. Even though she passed away, she was murdered so vicious that was like, you know what? We're not going to let her name be disrespected. We're not going to say her dead name. We're going to say her right name. And then because of that, they made a day where transgender people that was unalive or hurt, they speak their name out so you can remember their name. I never knew that personally. Never knew that. But when it does happen, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be right there saying them names with those people because I never knew about that day. I'm just going to be completely honest. I completely never knew about that day. And my theory is, and it's going to be very quick, guys, I think it was Bobby. And I don't think Bobby's name was really Bobby. Like, that's the easiest name ever to, like, just say, hey, my name is Bobby. I don't think his name was Bobby. I think he was married. I think he had kids. I think Rita knew that. And looking back, even now, most transgender people don't believe that they deserve love because they feel like nobody will love them who they are. Even some gay guys or even lesbians, they feel like, oh no, like nobody's going to love me because of who I am. But trust me, somebody's going to love you. You should not be with somebody who's married because you think that's the only person going to be with you. They have to hide you. If somebody going to be with you, make them scream your name out in the world like, this is my man or this is my woman. I believe that she was dealing with a married man. And I feel like looking back in that time, she probably thought that was the only person that will love me.
Mm.
And for her friends to only know his name and how he looked, not the last name. My friends know well, of course we married, but they know who you are. They know things about you. You know what I'm saying? Even her best friend that she knew for years couldn't tell you who that man was. He was married. He was married and Bobby was not his real name. I think what happened that night, he came and visited her. He probably couldn't spend time with her on Thanksgiving. You know, he got a family. He probably couldn't spend time with her on her birthday. He got a family. So he probably came, side chick days. And he, people don't know what side chick days is. You don't visit like your side chick on Thanksgiving or the day after. Like you pick certain days, okay? You separate then. But he came on side chick days and he visited her and she probably just got fed up because they said they was together for years. And she like, you know what? I want something real. Tell your wife. Tell her about me. I want to be your woman. And he like, nah. So she like, I'm going to call her myself. So she walked to the phone. She got the phone. They find the phone. He pulled that phone out. He probably hit her. And then he like, you're not going to mess up my life. You're not going to mess up my life as he's stabbing her. And that's how it happened. He like, oh, shoot, I messed up. And then he ran away. I feel like it's going to be hard to find him because none of the friends know who he is. Like, real name. Because I don't think his name is Bobby. I really don't. Probably Robert. It's probably close to Bobby because guys ain't that smart. I think it's Robert. Something close to Bobby. Like, very close. But or probably Bobby's middle name. You never know. I mean, that's what I think. And I feel like I'm on point. I feel like I visualized that scene I just did.
I wish I had more information, but looks like Bobby, just because he ran away,
Mhm.
seems like you're trying to hide something. Anybody that tries to hide something is either gonna deny it or try and hide from it. They're not gonna seek anything. And if this boyfriend really loved her, like, he would have been there trying to figure out what happened to her. And instead, you run. So if you're running, it's because you got something to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he wasn't ready to live in his truth. Maybe, I don't know, things got complicated. Maybe one of them wanted more, or one of them didn't want something that the other did. So maybe that's what it was, but it's really hard for transgender people to
Mm-hmm.
find somebody, I feel, already. Like, it's easier for, gays or lesbians, but for trans people, it's like super hard, I feel, because there's
Yeah.
even less than that.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to find somebody who's like pansexual, somebody who sees them and doesn't really care about gender, which I feel like that's even more rare. But,
Mm-hmm.
anything good, I feel like sometimes comes to an end. And very unfortunate that a lot of the times people still refer to them with their dead name
Mm-hmm.
or with a pronoun that they're not very comfortable with. It's just part of being in the being part of the LGBT community.
Well, guys, that's our case. I feel like it was Bobby, and it seemed like that was I don't know, the police just didn't look into this case really well. But don't forget, every November, they say every transgender person who has been hurt name out loud. So make sure you guys tell them if you have a loved one that was hurt. I'll have the link below so you guys can inform them. This is our episode. I'm so glad you listened to it. We are on all podcast platforms. We are on YouTube. This is our episode. This is Lesbian Detectives. Don't forget, everybody's suspect.
So proven innocent.
Bye.
Lesbian detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it. They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break? Or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must. Right now. Lesbian detective. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the lesbian detectives.